Hey everybody, this is Dust Rusted on Gaming. If you're new to the channel, please consider subscribing. If you like what you're seeing on the video, please consider hitting that like button. Alright, so we're back for our 100 treasure chest challenge here in Modern. We're trying for the month of October. We might have to bleed it over a little bit in November, we'll see. So far we've played through, okay, so 31 games, 6 leagues. We've had 3-3-2 records, 2-4-1 records, 1-5-0. This is the current this is the current record thing going on. We've played some weird decks. I think the last couple leagues were the last ones that we really had. Like, I think last league we had like Merfolk, Tron, Humans, Blue-White Control, and then Hardened Scales. What was the last time we felt like we were playing against a bunch of quote-unquote Tier 1 decks? I have played one competitive league. It didn't go well. I don't like burning tickets, so that's why I primarily stick to the friendly leagues. This is pretty much the update. Right now, match-wise, 23-8, 74% win percentage. Game-wise, 52-27, 66% game win percentage. Both of which are pretty good numbers. And then, oh, I'm sure it does. And then 19 treasure chests so far. That's kind of where we're at. So, just want to give an update. Our last match was against Hardened Scales in this league, and it was a bit of a doozy. So, you should go back and watch that. Alright, here goes. So we're on the play. This hand's okay. It's not super exciting. To me, super exciting burn hands involve one-drop creature into stuff rather than suspend the Rift Bolt and pass. Island Serum Visions. Snow-covered island. Storm, maybe? Feels like it could be Storm. On Earth. I actually screwed up here. I should have played the Sacred Foundry instead of the should have played the Sacred Foundry instead of, whatchamacallit there? Sure. Would you like to cast a Remand that will cost you 5 life? That was fast, brutal, and efficient. Alright, so this matchup, bring in the pass, bring in the rest in pieces, board out the skull cracks, and board out a couple lava spikes. So bring in the pass, especially on the draw, as another 1-mana interaction spell. Those of you that watch me play, this is kind of my normal pattern against Storm. I like to bring in Path. I don't like Accelerate them, but the dynamic kind of switches when they're on the play, because then you have to hold up interaction after turn 2, and having another 1-mana interaction spell allows you to play like 1 or 2 mana spells a lot faster. So, and Rest in Peace, as long as it's in my sideboard, I bring it in against Storm. And then Skullcrack, they generally don't have much life gain out of blue-red. And Lava Spike does not interact with what they're doing at all. And it's a sorcery speed, and after turn 2 you generally need to be playing at instant speed if at all possible. So that's kind of why I cut that instead of Boros Charm that I do in a lot of creature interaction matchups. And yes, I realize Storm isn't strictly a creature deck, but the draws that are best able to beat Burn and usually involve one of their mana cost reducers. This hand isn't great. Would I keep this 6-card hand? Yes. 1 land is 1 land too many. However, I'm going to keep it. I don't like it. Normally I would mulligan, but these 3 cards are almost too important in the matchup. I draw another path. Just exactly what I wanted. They draw pieces of the puzzle. Alright, so obviously they're expecting some amount of graveyard hate here. This is not Braid? No, they're going straight up for a Baral. That's kind of Baralsy. Pardon the horrible pun. There's a ritual. Alright, so they have the Thing in the Ice plan, which is interesting. Do I shock this in path now, or do I wait until next turn? I think I just go ahead and shock this in now in path. I've seen that a couple times out of the Storm deck. I don't know how I feel about that plan. I mean, I guess it's fine against a burn deck that you think is only packing, okay. Sure. So you're probably going to get an unsub and takes a Braid and unsubstantiate. Oh, they get Serum Missions and Desperate Ritual. Alright, I suppose that makes sense. I think I get another white source. That way we can have another... We draw a Boros Charm, they're just dead here. Oh, that's unfortunate. Well, they'll have a Baral. They're going to have a Baral at our expense. Sure. Just going for an Empty the Warrens here. Alright, so you're gonna get another Ritual and a Grape Shot, I guess. take Serum, Metamorphosis and Grape Shot. Alright. They already had another ritual in their hand. Now they're just going for maximum Grape Shottage. Makes sense. I'm presuming they're going to go after some amount of copies after Goblin Guide. Put that on the stack. Go ahead and do the thing. And pretty much any non-land, non-Searing Blaze just kills them here. Easy game, baby. Storm's usually a pretty reasonable matchup for Burn, obviously. Sorry, just updating the spreadsheet as I go along here, so don't forget about it. Hope everybody's having a good morning out there. Hope you're having a good weekend. Hope too many of you don't have to work. I know working on weekends can suck. I certainly have to do it enough myself. Burn is definitely a roller coaster deck, though. Like some matchups in some situations, like, I don't know, maybe it's just me. Starting out 2-0 in the league, you feel pretty decent, you know, as opposed to the last league where we started out 0-2 and had to rally back to get the 3-2. I don't know, maybe I just take the roller coaster ride of competitive Magic a little bit harder than some people. Alright, we'll be on the play this game. Wish our opponent good luck here. Yeah, hand's pretty good. Alright, so it looks like Tron. This hand's decent against Tron, but not great. Alright, well, if they get to do the Tron thing, they'll have Karn on 3. And they will definitely have Tron on 3. Fetch a Sacred Founder here. It's a little bit of damage, but I don't want to get taken off my white sources by a Karn. So put them to... Oh, there's a Worm Coil. At least we should pretty reasonably know what their play is going to be here. Question is, can we kill them through a Worm Coil engine here? Let's see. Not even even sure why you're bothering with that. So end step, we can put them to 8. Put them to 5. 2. We'd need a 1 mana burn spell here to kill them. Close. I mean, we let them do the worm coil engine thing. We know they have Karn in hand. Alright, so that means the worst play they could have here is Ujin. Yeah. Ujin actually is worse than Karn here, probably. Yep, that's fine. Alright, that's the easy game. That is the easy game. Game 2 gets a lot harder. So the reason Game 2 gets a lot harder is they have access to Nature's Claim, Thought Nazi, or Thragtusk, and depending on the build, even Collective Brutality. So it does get a little more difficult in the post-board games. Especially if they can connect with double Eidolon is kind of garbage. So too much crap going on here. Double Eidolon bolts, especially when they're keeping 7. I got a mulligan this hand. Yep, got a mulligan this one. Keep this one. Keep that one. So double Eidolon on the play might have been alright, but double Eidolon on the draw is definitely too slow. Alright, so they're going to have Tron on 3. Depends on what their, Okay, this might indicate they already have, like, natural Tron lined up, which is extremely scary. It's either natural Tron or spatial contortion. Looks like just natural Tron here. Depends on what their, once again, kind of depends on what their follow-up play is here. Karn certainly will hurt. Worm Coil Engine's rough. Thragtusk is probably nearly unbeatable with this life total. Yep, they just had natural Tron. That's kind of disgusting. Just thrown in the Thragtusk. Yep. Another spot where Eidolon's just terrible. Excuse me. What is the best play here? Kind of hoping for a land so I could just empty her hand and put them to 9. But I think we just pass and play into Lightning Helix when they thought not us. This is probably not a game we're winning. Definitely losing Bolt here. Alright, now we can go to game 3. Gee, thanks, bro. Thanks. What are you doing up this early? Oh, right, kids. Is this your weekend to have the kids? Guess it's possible I don't even want the, Wear Terrors. I just want the full-on Path to Exile package here. Yeah, this hand's pretty decent. Once again, though, our opponent keeping 7's very, very scary. Sure. This is the old hope you don't have Nature's Claim on turn 2 draw. So they will have Tron next turn, which means I can't afford to take down Skullcrack this next turn phase, which means unfortunately we're only going to get in here for 1 damage with the Swift Spear. JK. Reveal, friend. Alright, so you're going to have a lot of mana moving forward. Gotcha. And this is their turn. Hopefully their turn's just like... Thragtusk, Jan. Thragtusk and Wormcoil Engine. And Nature's Claim. Those are cards that beat us. Particularly Thragtusk and Nature's Claim from here. Wormcoil Engine we're just able to answer straight up. The simple answer, Dave, is you answer their problematic creatures. You try to keep Azuri and Archdruid and Clancaller off the board, and use things like, leverage things like Eidolon, Searing Blaze, Searing Blood to kind of bleed out their, make it punishing to go wide. Honestly, I've had a couple of Elves players tell me that Burn's one of their worst matchups. I don't know for sure, but that is what I've been told. Looks like their answer here is Swaggle Tusk. So, are they just dead? No, I don't think they're just dead, but it's going to be close. That should lock it up, I think. Certainly are drawing a lot of lands. Which way would you like to die, friend? No, but it's still correct to play as technically sound as possible, Jan. Even in situations where your opponent theoretically has no outs. I mean, there are people that play crazy things, so... But to answer your question, Dave, particularly in this build, I have access to 6 Searing Effects and 2 Grim Lavamancers after sideboard. So, Game 1 can be problematic because they can have access... The Game 1 draws that are a problem for Burn are ones where Burn has its like Lava Spikes and Boros Charms that don't interact with your opponent's creatures. And the Elf deck is able to go like turn 1 Mana Idiot, turn 2 Archdruid or whatever into... Hi Garrett. Turn 2 Archdruid into... Or turn 2 like Heritage Druid into like crap on the board. In Game 2, they have more tools against us, but we also have more tools against them. We get to take out things like Boros Charms, Lava Spikes, and bring in stuff like Path to answer their important Azuri's, Grim Lavamancer to mow down their guys, Searing Blood. Burn actually kind of takes the control role or the tempo role in the matchup in the post-board games. You like your best draws against them are like turn 1 Swift Spear or turn 1 Goblin Guide into like, you know, keeping their board clear, or like turn 1 whatever into turn 2 Eidolon, especially if they've just played, like, you know, just a man idiot on one. So burn has a lot of ways to kind of deal with the smaller creature decks. They certainly have draws that can beat burn, but especially a well-prepared burn player is usually good for decks, good against decks like Counters Company, Elves. Zoo tends to punish themselves a lot with their mana base, so Burn's kind of favored in that matchup. 1, 2, 3, yeah, Sand's pretty good. One land more than I like in the opener, but it's pretty reasonable. Could be the Burn Mirror. Yep, it's definitely confirmed the Burn Mirror. And our opponent shows Monsters with Spear. Alright, well, next turn's probably going to be Searing Blood, or Searing Blaze, I mean. Yep. Now we're both at 12, but they kind of have the initiative here. Especially they have another creature. Ooh, wow. All right, well, we're pretty much dead here. Good games. Shalai is strong. Don't get me wrong, it's a strong card if they can get to it. But definitely want these. Want to path to exile here for 2 copies of Spike, I think? No, not Spike. I think I just cut 2 Eidolons. I don't like the card in the matchup, though some people certainly do. That's why I bring in Path against them, too, to have an answer to that card. But I can certainly see where you're going with that. Not the greatest hand, but it's reasonable. This hand's very weak to Core Firewalker if they're running it. Hopefully they don't have a dork on one. That seems to indicate they do. Lavamancer. Was kind of hoping to get Eidolon down here, but I can't risk that. I don't like bringing in additional creatures in the matchup, especially when you know your opponent has so many searing effects. But that does seem to indicate they don't have Firewalker in their hand, at least. Okay. Gotta wait for the spell to resolve before you can cast your, Alright, well, yeah, give us some mana, that's cool. Another Lavamancer, sure. So our opponent has taken the wrong approach in the burn matchup. The burn matchup, you generally don't want to be bringing in additional creatures, you generally want to be boarding out some amount of creatures. Simply because, that said, if my opponent has a Helix here, this is a bit of a loose play. Yeah, they do. Oh, Deflecting Palm, sure. Get another card that I should have played around there. If I had waited until I had Skullcrack, then that would have backfired on them tremendously. What could you possibly have here? Oh, you have a Skullcrack of your own, sure. Wait, you're just dead. I don't know that it's a better Ensnaring Bridge. In fact, I can't stand the card if we're being completely honest. It's a completely garbage card. It gets me sometimes in the Burned Mirror because I forget the card exists because I don't play it because I find the card complete garbage. Like the matchups where you traditionally want it are get decks with big idiots like Tarmogoyf and Knight of the Reliquary and Death Shadow, but most of those decks have some amount of either Stubborn Denials, Negates, Inquisitions, or Deflecting Palms. So your opponent either sees it coming and can play around it, or, you know. I personally think it's garbage. And most Emrakul decks are playing counterspells. We're a little low on resources to kill our opponent, but it doesn't look like our opponent has that many resources either. Bolt us, sure. Drawn a few too many lands here. Fetching away that Lava Spike because we need something that answers this Goblin God. That said, we're probably already dead here, so... See a Goblin God of our own on top, which is okay, but not great, because one of the cards our opponent could have stuck in the hand is a Searing effect. So if I get hit by a Searing Blood here, I'm not going to be entirely surprised, or a Path to Exile. Alright, now one of the cards in our hands, Mountain. We really need to find a Lightning Helix here. Path to Exile, not exactly what we're after. Sure. Opponent's only going to respect Lightning Helix for so long here before they just go for the kill. This is definitely a Yep, that's a card. I mean, we'll play one. We'll play one more turn here, but I'm presuming we're dead without Firewalker in play. Alright, so we lost the Burn Mirror. One key in the Burn Mirror, don't draw too many lands. In Burn's a deck, I mean, the thing with the Mirror match is if you want to beat the Burn match, you gotta have Core Firewalker in your sideboard, or at least beat it consistently. I don't play against the Burn Mirror enough to warrant having it in my sideboard, so it's kind of hard to justify that card whenever I see more of the graveyard-based decks. So it's kind of why I end up going with Rest in Peace instead of Core Firewalker. It's usually the slot Core Firewalker is in. Yeah. Our opponent obviously playing a little bit older build. They're playing with Core Firewalkers and Deflecting Palms on their board. They either brought in or had the Grim Lavamancers in their main deck. All of which are obviously perfectly fine choices. But generally you don't want to bring in extra creatures in the Burn Mirror unless you're bringing in Core Firewalker. On a scale of 1 to 10, how good is the deck you're using? Aren't we a comedian? In terms of... because you can't target it with Searing Blood. You can't target it, so it doesn't Skullcrack doesn't matter. Skullcrack takes away the damage prevention clause. It does not take away the protection from the color clause. We're on the draw. On a scale of 1 to 10, the deck's probably about an 8. A 7 or an 8. In terms of the format. A lot of it is practice with the deck more than anything. Like in the hands of a player who doesn't know what's going on, Burn can be very mediocre. In the hands of a player who understands the deck, it can be just as competitive as any other deck in the format. Okay, our opponent is playing... I'm kind of hoping they path us here, if we're being completely honest. Please path me, please path me, please path me. Shock and path, shock and path, shock and path. Yes, thank you, opponent. Your cooperation is greatly appreciated. Well, if we're being blunt, the reason I've been playing the deck so much was... Oh, Jessica, this is going to be a little bit tricky. I wonder if we get mana leaked here. That'd be interesting. And if they have Helix, do we bolt our own Goblin God? Alright, there's a lightning bolt. So that path seemed to indicate they didn't have an answer to it, other than path to exile last turn. So, part of the reason I've been playing the deck for so long is it was the only deck I had in Modern for a long time. Alright, so... Do I make a move here? I guess I go ahead and bolt them. See if they have... If they have Logic Knot, this is going to bait out a Logic Knot? Wow. I wasn't expecting that to actually bait out a Logic Knot. I was figuring our opponent would want to... bolt the Goblin God here. Very poor... Now, our opponent can still definitely win this game, don't get me wrong. But that Logic Knot was very poor on their part. And this is why I fetched the second Sacred Foundry, or the second Sacred Foundry there, is because I didn't want to get screwed off of white. Our opponent's probably going to be counter tap, I'm guessing here. Cryptic Command, counter tap. Yep. These Searing Blazes are not their best in the matchup, that's for sure. So So I could put them to 3 here with Skullcrack, but then we have no answer to Lightning Helix should they draw it. So alright, that makes these Searing Blazes a lot better against Snapcaster Mages, which our opponent being on Jeskai probably means they have a 4 of in their deck. This is just going to get bolted finally. Yeah, that's fine. Now we enter the waiting game portion of the game. We're doing alright, War Dog. We're 2-1 so far today. We lost to the Burn Mirror. Right now we're playing game 1 against Jeskai. And we're drawing a few too many lands for my tastes. Sure. If they activate Celestial Colonnade, this could get quite entertaining. Alright, there's a path on top. See how they choose to answer this. Alright, so let's go ahead and Skullcrack you, although the Skullcrack probably isn't going to resolve. I was hoping to hold it here to kill our opponent, but what our opponent target here? Targeted Cryptic Command. Sure. Not sure why they're fetching an additional land here. I wish we had an additional way to... I should have played this spike before combat, I see. If I would have played spike before combat, this would actually kill them. Now they get to go to 5. Am I supposed to leave a land in my deck for landfall or just put them to 2? I think I'm just supposed to let the land in my deck for now. Yeah, Burn's a pretty fun deck. What is this? Yep, this is where we get into trouble as the Burn deck, This is why Jeskai has a better matchup against Burn than, Burn can be played, yes, it's just weaker. We'll see, Jan, we'll see. So despite our opponent outplaying us, and they did outplay us, I should have played that Lava Spike pre-combat. We got lucky to steal that game. Alright, so Jeskai. We want the Exquisitive Firecrafts. Thanks, although it was more dumb luck than my skill that time. Normally I cut Searing Blazes in these style of matchups, especially against blue-white, but the fact that they have snaps and probably Vendilions, this hand is not keepable. And I just hit the keep button. Wow. Alright, well, getting distracted by chat here and keeping hands that I shouldn't be keeping in this matchup. Hi friends, say hi to my friend Lava Spike. That generally indicates our opponent kept a very land-light hand here. It must have interaction they like for them to have risked keeping that hand. Meanwhile, our deck's going, nah. They might have leak here. Most of these just... We didn't see miracles out of them, so it's kind of hard to see how they decide to fetch here. I think I just Lava Lightning Helix them here. They could draw Red Source and have Lightning Helix available, but it's best to just pot them while you can. That just indicated to me that they didn't have many lands in their hand. You generally don't want to play Field of Ruin as your... yeah. Unfortunately, we don't have anything here to punish them. I mean, that said, I mean... if they draw Red Source and have Helix, I mean, good for them. But a lot of their red sources involving fetch shocking, so... If I were them, I was going to say, they're probably going to fetch Basic Mountain and Lightning Helix our face here. which will put them to 8. We'll tap them out if they draw a creature. Yeah. This is the one danger of not holding up lightning Skullcrack here. Oh, timely reinforcements. That's kind of worse for us, but at the same time, us having no creatures. In this particular matchup, it's Exquisitive Firecraft. This deck isn't really an ending deck card. This deck doesn't really have a particular ending card. It's more a combination of drawing enough of certain cards to kill your opponent with a flurry of cards rather than just one card. Alright, Lightning Bolt's pretty decent. We're getting close to being able to kill them. As Kanta is going to be a problem, though. Wow, they whiffed. That's painful. Good for us, but painful for them. Hopefully they try to go like snap timely reinforcements here. Nope. How many lands can we draw? Alright. Have a nice logic knot, friend. Yep, just negate. Agreed. The flood is real. Alright, so they're just regular, they're just regular traditional just got control. Island's not exactly a card I'm thrilled to draw here. Still think it's a card I play out. Opponent has a cryptic command here. They just need to learn to tap their mana right. Yep. Man, our opponent hates to lose to burn, obviously. Not much I can say about that. Our opponent did not want to lose to burn. Yep. There's a lot of patience with your counterspell. And we're dead next turn. So here comes Secure the Wastes for a bunch, and then all right. These Searing Blazes really kind of suck, but bringing in Lavamancers feels even worse when they have timely reinforcements. So I think we just resubmit. This hand isn't the best. This hand's better. Don't want a third land right now. I didn't concede the match. I conceded the game because I was dead on board. My opponent was casting Secure the Waste for X equals 6 and had a Colonnade in play. I only had one card in hand. They were at 5 life, so there's no one card I had that could kill them, and they were going to go for lethal. If you have Helix, you have Helix. Excuse me. This will draw out the bolt. This will give them an extra land. This means I get to resolve the Eidolon without them guaranteed having another answer to it in hand. Now if they have timely reinforcements, they have timely reinforcements. Looks like it's just Helix. If it's Helix, it's Helix. If it's Snapcaster Mage, it's Snapcaster Mage. This is going to end very poorly for them. Alright, Skullcrack's a pretty decent one here. Alright, so that now locks them out of a lot of things. And I'm pretty sure they're dead here. Alright, so 4-1 in this league. Ugh. That was, yeah, that was a thing. Whew. Alright, so 4-1. Our only loss was the Burn Mirror. Had a lot of tight matches in there. Statler and Waldorf. Somebody actually named their Magic Online account Statler and Waldorf. Wow. Got some Muppet fans in the house. Yeah, anybody else have any questions? I think I'm going to take a short break. I'm not sure if I'm going to be playing any more Magic this morning, or if I'm going to do a little bit of World of Warcraft here to end things up. Hope everyone's been having a good time this morning. I did get a little bit later start. A little bit later start than I wanted to this morning, but like I said, I played an FNM last night, and I also, you know, had some homework to do when I got home, watched some of Sideboard MTG's stream last night. It's a deck, obviously, I like a lot. I've played it a lot. Obviously, we're trying for that Treasure Chest Challenge at the end of the month. We only have another 11 days to go, and I have another 70-some things. I don't think we're going to quite make it, but, you know, I don't want to just keep playing just to keep playing. It is a little grindy whenever you've played, like, 3+ hours of Magic in a row. Especially some of these matchups that people say Burn doesn't have decisions to it. It definitely does. You know, little micromanagement decisions can sometimes punish you, like that Lava Spike sequencing against Jeskai. There's a lot of back and forth to a lot of these matchups, more than people want to think or admit with Burn. But it's definitely a deck that's fun to play. It's relatively cheap to build by modern standards. Someone had the question, Lucas, if you're still in chat, there is a couple different builds by Saffron Olive, including a Boros version that was running Inspiring Vantage and what is the name of the card? The red-white Painland. What is it called? I played with it before, but I can't remember the name of the card. It's the red-white Painland. See if I can pull up the list. Budget. Where is it? Spirits being that cheap is pretty interesting. But this is the list. Sure. That's the link. My only thing is I would probably run 19 or 20 lands and cut some number of... You're welcome. And if you have access to Swiftspear, I would run Swiftspear over Soulscar Mage, because the haste is so relevant. I don't like some of the sideboard cards, but if you have access to the more expensive sideboard cards, I'd run them. You know, things like Path to Exile or that kind of stuff. But yeah, Saffron has put a lot of work into some of these lists, so the deck is reasonably powerful. I don't personally like it because I prefer the fetch this consistently. I would prefer the consistency of it, but the fetch lands. But I understand not everybody has the money for fetch lands. So, with that being said, yeah, and I would also consider running. If you want a couple more white sources, Cliff Top. Nah, I don't know if there's enough mountains to run Cliff Top Retreat. Yeah, I don't like 8 white sources, but at the same time, I don't think you can justify running Cliff Top Retreat and having risk one of your lands coming into play tapped. So it's kind of a balance you got to find without the fetch lands. On that note, I'm going to take a couple minute break, and then I think I'm going to play a little bit more Magic, but it's probably going to be Arena. Playing a little bit of mono blue tempo, just to kind of close things out for the afternoon. But I need to take a couple minute break to get my eyes refocused. Staring at 2 computer monitors kind of really drains my eyesight after a while. So if anybody else has any other questions, let me know. If you have any more extensive questions, you can feel free to contact me. My email address, link is down below the description below. It's mtgotavern@gmail.com. I'm happy to answer any questions anybody might have, or at least attempt to answer them if I know the answer. If I don't, I'll flat out tell you I don't know the answer or where to look for it. And glad for the stream this morning. And like I said, I'll be back in probably 5 minutes or so with some Arena to kind of close things out. I'm a little fried thought-wise from playing Esper Control and Standard, and then some of these matches were a little bit grindy this morning. So, but Arena doesn't require quite as much thinking, and it's a little more visually entertaining than Excel spreadsheet.magic, as Mr. Hoogland puts it. But with that, I'll be back in a few minutes, and those of you that want to see the updated spreadsheet, this is where we're at. We're at 26-9 now through 7 leagues. We're 59-31 in games played, so 66%. And then we're at 23 treasure tests, so we have another 77 to go. I don't think we're gonna quite make it, but we'll certainly give it a little more of a serious shot than we had been with school and everything else going on. So I'll be back here in a few minutes with some Mono Blue Arena.